So there I was, streaming on my Twitch channel, talking about upcoming updates and skill trees with the community, only for me to realize I was playing the one other character that has been in desperate need of an update to her updates, Wendy. Now don't get me wrong, for what she's supposed to be, she is a great survivor for both beginners and beyond. However, all of what you're seeing here has become antiquated at best. Because as much as I personally do not like how I am now forced to say this due to Clay's introduction of modern refreshes and perks, she's just too simple, folks. She spawns in with her dead sister, who takes a full day to level up once for a total of 3 ranks, all of which she's an increase to her health and health alone mind. But start diving into Wendy's exclusive crafts and things change fast. The cistern is always available and not only rapidly decreases the time it takes for Abby to reach her next levels, as we're talking like 4 times the rate here in case you didn't know, but also provides sanity to all nearby once 4 flowers are inserted. But how does this tandem truly work nowadays? Well, about the same as they always have for all these years. However, we now have full control over when to spawn and despawn Abigail. We can rile Abby up to have her automatically target mobs for us. She has a shield that lasts for half a second to prevent crazy horde damage, and Wendy herself is still weak, so she's gonna need all the help she can get as soon as possible. But expect 25% less damage without Abby present, but a 40% increase once you're fighting together due to Abigail's petal buff, something that sees all that she hits, taking 10% more damage from anyone who isn't a Wendy as well. And speaking of damages, yes, Abigail still deals more of it as the day drags on, culminating in 40 per tick come nightfall. But since she's more involved in combat than ever, how do we keep our dead sister from becoming more dead, you ask? Well, sometimes you don't, and sometimes you'll lose her, so note her flower craft, while also realizing that we can heal her through salves and poultice, which is actually rather sneaky. For you see, Clay included their own ways to do so in Wendy's refresh way back when, with the Ectoherbology tab here, which offers some fine options, sure, and do heal Abigail over time. However, I have to imagine that most people just never use most of these elixirs, especially the shield ones. Yes, the Vengeance Potion helps Abigail reflect damage for even more horde destruction, and yes, the Nightshade gives her night damage at literally any time, but last I checked, 2 out of 6 ain't a good score. I mean, honestly, who the heck is using this speed boost? I don't know, but do you all recall Wendy's main mechanic after all this time? You know, the one with the baby ghost that's actually required to even access any of these limited elixirs? Yeah, just follow where the pip spooks float, watch for their pulsating heads, find a few lost toys, and boom. The only way to get morning glory reveals itself. So yeah, it's as I said, this all feels like it's from a different game than the one we have now, and that's okay, as that game was good too. We just need to modernize her and her connection to the dead and decrepit. So, it's a good thing that is literally what this video is about, eh? But how do we get Wendy to a level playing field with the rest of the game after all this time? Well, you have the obvious buffs to both sisters to make Pip Spooks more efficient for better morning glories, Abigail deadlier, and Wendy a tad less frail, being presented all over the place by the community here. However, I enjoy the more unique approach of Cause, Soul, and Sister mod here. Buff Wendy, sure, but do it in a very cool and appropriate way. Fusion, or you know, a channeling of Abigail's power into Wendy, I suppose. Now trying to do so when she's not level 3 will just give us a bit of a sanity regeneration effect, which is also quite good, but once the connection does complete itself, all bets are off. You'll notice an immediate sanity drain that will be a constant threat, an increase to your speeds, a small but continuous light source, a damage increase, Abigail's petal buff already built in to Wendy, and more. For you see, like Abby, Wendy's damage will now increase with the day cycle that will result in her dealing 25% more base damage at night on top of the petal nonsense. Wendy will not be able to die to the cold and will just not take any cold damage at that. And finally, she will become a faster worker on all ends. It's not bad, but it's actually not all sunshine and spirits. Once the constant sanity drain ends, your hells will quickly plummet instead, and damage from all nightmares will be increased while in this state as well. So how do we break it if we do need to? Simple. You just summon Abigail naturally, as with this mod, you can still play Wendy all the same as before. The fusion is completely optional, and that's good. Player choice matters. But you also can't get too crazy with it, everybody, which I fear they might with some future ones, but with Wendy here, Does it get any simpler than having a Wendy tree, an Abigail tree, and then a Wendy and Abigail tree that kind of deals with the spectral side of both of them? Right? Wendy tree focusing on the physical things that we're able to do with. A better cistern that maybe like produces morning glory per day so we don't just have to do the pip spook things. More potions that give Abigail slightly different and unique abilities. Buffed potions in general because let's face it, the ones we have really not that great. Abigail tree probably just straight buff says, how much do we even want to stretch the fact that we are summoning Abigail because Wendy herself is the weakling? And so it's a balancing act, right? So do we get rid of that balancing act? Yes, probably, because Clay threw away balance 2 years ago, everybody. So let's not even try to talk about that. And yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything beyond a better shield, more health, and maybe, just maybe, a slight tick to her tick damage and not necessarily just a straight damage buff. And then down the middle, the spectral stuff. This is where you can have your fun with the affinities, be it just straight shadow and lunar affinities. I'm not really sure where Wendy's going to fall on that one because I gotta be honest, another thing about Wendy, and I said this not too long ago, literally in like the last reaction video we did, Wendy should have way more connection to what's happening in the game and the lore right now, and she just doesn't. Like, she's literally the niece of Maxwell. Abigail was the niece of Maxwell. How is there not more commotion surrounding that? You know what I mean? But besides the point, the middle tree, what do you do with the both of them? The spectral stuff, well, ghosts, right? You make pip spooks more efficient, right? Maybe they're faster, or they get more toys, or more morning glories for them. Maybe the ghosts themselves are able to follow Abigail, literally ghost followers. Maybe the channeling of Abigail that we just saw is a thing. Maybe they do it. Maybe you can absorb the spectral stuff and be ethereal for a little bit and move a little faster and take less shadow damage and all that fun stuff. Like, I can see it, but it's probably also going to be very simple. And I like it. I don't know why I'm talking with my hands so much. Maybe it's because of the loosey-goosey spectralness, but I could see a very straightforward Wendy Abigail skill tree, and that's what this video was for. Now, if you want to blow the top off of all this, go for it. If you have crazy ideas, shoot. Who knows what Clay is going to do, honestly, and who knows how far away said Wendy tree will even be, but yeah, I think this one is absolutely happening. I know they said everyone's going to get a tree. I don't really agree with that. Maybe they'll walk back on that, like, come next year when they get to, like, the Wandas, the WXs, the Wartoxes, the ones that absolutely don't need a tree, but Wendy, she's up there with my Willows, Winonas, and Walters for sure. She is definitely number 4 on my list. But folks, thanks for watching. Again, whatever you guys have, place in the comments. I know Clay sometimes sees these. I know Clay sometimes reads those. So who knows what they're going to pull? We'll find out together. But here you go. The upcoming potential Wendy skill tree speculation done. I'll see you in the next one. Happy Hallowed Nights. Bye-bye.